Baylor had a couple tough losses. They played Utah, looked good. Utah didn't have Cam Rising. He should be back this week. But, Baylor, 2 tough losses against Texas State and against Utah, but still a team to give their dues in the Big 12. Ole Miss will be tough. Ole Miss plays Bama in 2 weeks. Texas A&M, I think they might be in trouble. Looked horrible against Miami. On the road like that, get all those points, looked horrible. They have Bama at home, then they have Tennessee, Ole Miss, and LSU on the road. So all four could be losses easily. So Texas A&M could go from these losses could just pile up on A&M. They don't fix their defense. They're going to be on a similar pace to last year, where the 6 games they're losing are just outrageous numbers. 44 points, almost 450 yards on offense for other teams. It just doesn't look good, and it's getting to the point where Jimbo Fisher, they signed him for this $76.8 million contract, and they owe him that. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place. They could get rid of him. They could keep him on. But right now they're in a sinking ship. I don't see them turning it around. They've got tough games. They had 3 turnovers against Miami. Didn't look good. I will slowly think that A&M will be the sinking ship. Just based on their performance and their upcoming schedule, they could lose another 4. So they could have 5 losses on the year, and who knows else they lose to. So I don't know what A&M is going to do. Are they going to pay Jimbo Fisher? So they've got some stuff to go back to the drawing board. Washington played really well. I still think they're going to surprise people. I think they're going to give USC a run for the Pac-12. Their quarterback Michael Penix Jr. has almost has 900 yards in 2 games, so he is throwing that rock. 8 touchdowns, and he's got 73% passer rating. So that offense with him, they could do nasty things. And if he can put those numbers up against USC, Oregon State, the teams that they're going to play in the Pac-12, it could be a situation where, hey, down the line in December and January, we're talking about Washington. So keep an eye out for Washington. Like I said, that quarterback, if he stays healthy and keeps doing the numbers he's doing, now mind you, it's only going into week 3, so we can't really set that sail and say he's going to dominate every single game. But based on now, it looks good. They do have a tough schedule, though. So they go to USC and they go to Oregon State. USC is going to be a tough one. That is going to be a battle. I don't see them getting blown out, per se. It's going to be a bang-bang game. Oregon State's a trap game. You go to Oregon State, it's probably a night game. The Beavers are going to be ready to play, knock out Washington, give people a reason to cheer, and get Oregon State on the map. So that could easily be a trap game for them. USC is always going to be tough. Now they have Oregon, Utah, and Washington State at home. All 3 still tough, but bringing Oregon to Washington, their home game is great. Not going to Utah is also great. So, they could lose to USC with that 1 loss and knock out those 3 home games and play really well and still be in consideration. So they've got opportunity ahead of them to present to the governor board of the College Football Playoff that, hey, we may have lost to USC, who probably will be in the Final Four. Give us a shot. New Year's Six Bowl possibility. So 5 of the last 7 games for Washington are against ranked opponents. So that is going to be tough, and that is going to set the pace on what they end up doing for the playoff, for the College Football Playoff. Texas and Bama. I know this game happened Saturday. I'm already talking about it. I guarantee you've already listened to all these other people talk about it. So I'm just going to give you what I thought looked good, looked bad, and what we see to come from these upcoming teams. So Texas looked good. Texas was 2 for 3 on 4th downs, which I think was huge. They had, I think, 1 for 1 yard. Bama's turnovers is what made the game a turning point. Their quarterback room, I don't think is set in stone. I think they're might move on from the guy they had in. His 2 interceptions were not good. They had a turnover. They had a fumble in the red zone. I think Bama's going to go back and look at their quarterback room and kind of see what's going on. Can Texas keep this up? Are they back? Are they kind of back? Are they not really back? They beat Bama, put it behind them, and continue their season. They can't hold on to this on the coaster and just keep thinking about it and get distracted and end up choking and losing a game that they don't need to lose. So they need to put that in the back burner. They beat Bama, keep up the wheels, keep rolling, do your thing. You're playing Wyoming, give Wyoming heck, keep doing it. Texas had 0 turnovers, protected the ball, which is good. When you win the turnover battle, you normally win the game. Looked good. Penalties for Bama was a problem. They had penalties, silly penalties that shot themselves in the foot. Bama didn't play their best game. I get it. No excuse to Texas. Texas beat them. But let's see what Texas can keep doing. Bama has, like I said earlier in the other episodes, Bama has games to help them get back into conversation for the college football playoff. They play in the SEC. So they're going to get a ring at Georgia. They're going to get a ring at LSU. They're going to get a ring at Auburn. So they have these games that could potentially set them up for, okay, they lose to Texas, but week 2, early in the season, they come back, and last game of the year, they have these games on their resume. So they play Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, potentially Georgia in the SEC championship game. So all 4 of those teams are ranked. Tennessee and Georgia are going to be in the top 10. LSU and Ole Miss are probably going to be top 15. Ole Miss is just outside top 20, and LSU is 15 as of right now. So those games are going to be huge for Bama. Put them on the map, get them going. Texas, like I just said earlier, they have trap games. They have to go to Baylor. Now, Baylor gave Utah a run for their money without Cam Rising, but going to Baylor is a tough trap game where, Baylor's already 0-2. This game is down the line in the season. Baylor's going to look to knock off Texas. So at Baylor, they play the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma. That's always a good game. They have Kansas State. They're at TCU and at Iowa State. All 3 of those road games are potential trap games. At TCU got embarrassed by Colorado. They want to put themselves back on the map in consideration. And Iowa State's always tough to play in. So those 3 games for Texas, they got to wrangle them in, keep up the mindset, and keep going and driving. They got past those contenders. They don't really have another ranked top 10 matchup. As the season progresses, we'll see what these guys do. So we'll see how Texas looks and the teams they're playing once they get going. So that's kind of week 2. That was kind of it. Bama was a good game. We really didn't have any barn burners. So I kind of just went over week 2. Some teams to watch out for, which I've said earlier. Miami looks good, but again, are they back for real? They beat Texas A&M at home, but like I said, they play in the ACC. They're going to play Clemson. They're going to play games where, are they going to beat these teams, or are they going to go back to where, they once were? So you've got to look out for that. Keep them in your mind. Washington, like I said earlier, with that quarterback and that offense, they could do damage. And Texas, let's see what they'll look. So let all 3 of those teams, they're rolling now, but they got to keep it consistent because that one loss can alter everything and set their season and helter-skelter, and they go back. Nebraska and A&M, figure it out. Y'all are in trouble. I know Matt Rule's first year. Doesn't look good. Whole drama with Deion Sanders. He plays in the Big Ten. He's not going to get a lot of wins. Texas A&M, like I said, they owe him $76 million. Are they going to pay him? They're going to get rid of him. They got to figure out what they're going to do. I'm going to list off the top 10 real quick. So this is the top 10, not my top 10. This is the college or the coaches poll. So we've got Georgia at 1, Michigan at 2, FSU at 3, Texas at 4, USC at 5, OSU at 6, Penn State at 7, Washington at 8, Notre Dame at 9, Bama at 10. That might have changed when I wrote that down. I don't think it did, but that's the top 10. And not ranked to ranked. Iowa's at 25. They weren't ranked. While UCLA is 24 from unranked. Washington State went to 23, and Miami went to 22. Texas went up 7 spots, and Colorado went up 4 spots. Those are the 2 biggest jumps we had. We're going to preview some Week 3 games. These games are huge. We got some better games from last week, but these games, they're not barn burners, but we'll go through them. Tennessee at Florida. So Florida, like I said, need to get something going. They played McKinney or whoever they played at home. This is a great game for them to put that ugly Utah loss behind them and say that they can compete in the SEC. I'm not saying this is a testimony to their season if this game goes one way or the other, but if Florida doesn't look good, then they got to play these other SEC teams, and it's going to get to the point where you have a 6-6 season, that type of thing. So I'm not saying it's a must-win, but I'm kind of saying it's a must-win. It's at home. It's at night. I believe game day is there. No, game day's at Colorado. But No, game day is there. Yeah, game day is, you know what, I don't know. I don't know where game day is. But anyway, it's a night game. Florida, bring the heat. Let's see what y'all can do. Tennessee's at -6.5. So, it's a 7-point area for Florida. Can they keep it up? Colorado State at Colorado. It's a good rivalry. Normally it hasn't been because Colorado State and Colorado were both trash. But now with Colorado Energy and Colorado State, that head coach talking smack. Let's bring the rivalry back. Let's see what can happen. Colorado's a 23-point favorite. Washington at MSU. I know I just talked about Washington, but this is a very important game for them because they go to Michigan State. Michigan State at home plays well, and they do play spoiler. So Washington is a 16-point favorite. I want them to keep an eye out and keep a lookout for the Spartans because they can play spoiler at home. LSU at Mississippi State, same thing. Mississippi State, they play well at home. They give a good challenge at home. And LSU is already on that turnstile from FSU games, so they got to keep an eye out for that. Don't want anything to happen there. And then my favorite game, I'm so glad this is back. The Backyard Brawl, Pitt at WVU. Pitt is a 1-point favorite. This game is going to go down to the wire. It's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be points. Hit the over on that game. Whatever the over is, smack it, because this is going to be a great game. I can't remember the last time they played each other, but I love the backyard rivalry. West Virginia, Pitt. I'm going to tune in for that game. But those are my Week 3 games, so that's kind of what I've been going through college football world. Playoffs haven't been released, but the top 4 are Georgia, Michigan, FSU, and Texas. So, that's what we're looking at playoff-wise. Nothing crazy there. College football will get kicked up and get stuff going. Once we get into conference plays, I'll be talking a lot more about college football. So we're going to jump into the NFL. So we're going to jump into the NFL Week 1. As everyone knows, unless you're living under a rock, Aaron Rodgers is out with an Achilles. Horrible. 4 plays. All that off season, the hard knocks, all that nonsense, and to not even play the season, that's just crazy. And J.K. Dobbins went down with the same Achilles injury. He was on my fantasy team, so that kind of shot me in the foot. First big injury. So we're kind of just going through that. Speedy recovery for both those guys. I was really looking forward to watching the Jets. Let's see what Zach Wilson can do. It's his time to shine. No excuse. This is kind of like a go broke, go home type of thing. So he can either excel or decel, and then we can kind of backtrack and go from there. Are the Lions for real? I know the Lions played last week. This is a week late. They played Kansas City. I know Kansas City didn't have Travis Kelce, and they struggled without Travis Kelce. The receivers couldn't catch a cold. Dan Campbell is the man for that job. I think Dan Campbell's energy, and hey, we're the Lions, scrappy. I think they're going to be a good team. I don't think KC's going to be the same they were this week compared to next week. If Kelce plays, I think they're going to, hit that hiccup and go. They do have an issue with wide receiver. They can throw the ball to Kelce every single play, but they also have wide receivers that they need to fix. So they need to figure out that those wide receivers, they need to work on catching and everything else. Falcons looked good. Bijan Robinson had 56 yards, so not explosive for the rookie hype. But I think same type of thing as the Lions. Atlanta has this energy like, yo, yah, rah, rah. Bryce Young struggled. With Houston, which to expect. I don't want to base this first week on how his season's going to go. He's got a few weapons. The organization I still think is but he had 3.8 yards per pass, 1 tutty, and 2 interceptions, and he had a 48 rating. Turnovers he's got to fix. I expected a 3.8. He really doesn't have anyone to throw to. Nico Collins is the wide receiver, 1 potentially on that team. Damian Pierce is our running back. I expected this, but I don't think it's going to continue. I think he could get that team to 5-6 wins. I don't see that team being that bad, but the interception's got to get fixed. So I'm not bailing on him per se, but I am nudging him in the direction of, he's got some things to fix. Bengals and Browns, a lot of people are basing a lot of stuff on how the Browns are going to play based on the last game and how the Cincinnati's in a hole with that game. Listen, I'm a huge Browns fan. Don't really hate Cincinnati. I can cheer for Cincinnati. I'm from Ohio, but that weather was horrible. So Joe Burrow was running for his life, but it was a wet, crappy game. They play at home this week, so maybe the weather will be a little better. But rule of thumb is you can't base Week 1 on how the season's going to go for these teams. So the Browns, yes, their energy, their new defensive coordinator, I like it. Do I think that everything is fixed? No. The running game looked great. We lost one of our offensive lines, Conklin, to a season-ending injury, but we have that 6'6" OSU rookie. He's gonna start. The dude's a monster. Watson looked good, but like I said, the rain had a lot to portray. So don't base that game on how it all went, how it looked. It just wasn't a good game. All around was a bad performance, but like I said, the game was rainy. So Jaguars and Colts was a good one. I think, like I said, I really liked how Trevor Lawrence played. You know, he 7 yards a pass, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So he was he was getting almost 8 yards every time he threw the ball, which isn't bad. Richardson, 6 yards a pass, looked good, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and he had 40 rush yards. Now I will say, from me to you, my dude, slide. You're my fantasy quarterback. I need you to slide, protect yourself. He got injured. And it didn't look. He's good. He looked good. He slid at the end and got injured. But he needs a slide. Sorry, Brutus has made it in here. I'm trying to film with Brutus is all freaking out, so he's in here. You can hear him, and you'll hear him in the audio making all this noise. But yeah, he needs a slide. He looked good. I don't think it was anything to write the parade for. He looked good. Etienne had 77 yards and a touchdown, and Calvin Ridley went off for 101 yards and a touchdown. Great game. Like I said, I think Anthony Richardson looked good. Slide, protect the ball, reduce those turnovers, and we'll see what he can kind of do. Bucks, surprisingly, as I predicted, Baker Mayfield would start for that team. I get that they wanted the Gator quarterback. His name is slipping my head, but Baker didn't turn the ball over, and he threw for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now listen, if you were to tell Baker, hey, don't turn the ball over, throw 173 yards, and we'll win the game, I think you and the Bucks would take that. So mediocre by some, but I think Baker got the job done. Ran over a cornerback to get a first down and give that team a win, close out the game. By any means, the Bucks didn't solve their quarterback issue, but I think Baker doing what he did, he didn't turn the ball over. That's all you can ask. Don't turn the ball over. Baker, just be Baker, throw the ball, don't turn the ball over. Minnesota had no rushing game. They had 41 yards of rushing. Non-existent, looked horrible, and Justin Jefferson had 150 yards and no touchdowns. I also have Jefferson. He did not look happy on the sidelines. You got to get that man a touchdown. So Minnesota's got some things. Kirk Cousins plays tonight at Philly. Dangerous game to go down 0-2. Kirk Cousins struggles in prime time, but yeah, with no running, they got to figure that out because you can't rely on Kirk Cousins to throw the ball. If you have no other offense but throwing the ball from Kirk Cousins, So Minnesota, figure that out. Titans and Saints was a low-scoring game. Tannehill, Lord have mercy, he might be Cheeks-Buns trash. He had 3 interceptions. Carr looked good. He did just enough, but these numbers aren't going to get him games that he needs to win throughout the year. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 305 yards. So he had 305 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Just enough to get by, but definitely has to be better. Olave went off, 8 catches, 112 yards. Michael Thomas, Mr. Slant, 61 yards, 5 receptions. DeAndre Hopkins had 65 yards, and Derrick Henry had 63 yards and 56 rushing. Again, same kind of thing with Minnesota. Tennessee, if Tannehill throws the ball, yeah, you're going to lose more than you win. And Derrick Henry wasn't Mr. Derrick Henry. Now again, it's week 1. We can't go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and think that all this stuff is set in stone. So we got to kind of just go week by week and kind of just go by there. 49ers dominated Pitt. I was shocked to why they got rid of Trey Lance. But week 1, they looked good. Their offense was dominant. Ayuk had 8 receptions, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, dominated. McCaffrey, 22 carries, 152 yards, 1 touchdown. Purdy had 2 touchdowns, and Pickett had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Everyone on San Francisco's offense looked fantastic. Looked great. They looked good. They're going to play... They're playing somebody that's 1-0. The Rams? Yeah, they're playing the Rams. So hopefully that team, we'll see what the 49ers are about. But their offense looked really good. Their defense looked good. Commanders' defense just did enough to beat the Cardinals. Sam Howell, okay, 202 yards, a touchdown and interception. Brian Robinson had 59 yards. So again, that offense, that offense was already a C offense. It wasn't going to go crazy. I like Sam Howell. Keep the turnovers down. Do your thing. He's got Scary Terry. He's got some things. Arizona, I don't know what to talk about. Josh Dobbs, 132 yards. Connor, 62 yards. Their offense is bleak. Defense, meh. Arizona's going to be lucky to win a game this year, so we'll kind of just move on from there. They really didn't have much. Ravens looked good against Texans, but on paper it did not. Lamar got paid, and like I've said before, Lamar's a running quarterback, and when the running ability isn't there, expect him to throw the ball, it's not going to be good. And it wasn't. Lamar had 169 yards, 1 interception, and 2 fumbles. Subpar, at best. Not sure what his rating was. It wasn't good. So if you make Lamar throw the ball, as of right now, that just was not good enough. So they played the Texans, but against the Browns, against a team in that division that they're in, that's not a guarantee. You can't produce those numbers and expect to get by and do what you need to do. Nico Collins, who I think is going to be C.J. Stroud's number 1 target, had 80 yards on 6 receptions. Pick him up in fantasy if he's around. I think he's going to be the number 1 target in Houston. C.J. Stroud, 242 yards, but no turnovers. So that's what I'm saying. These rookie quarterbacks protect the ball and don't give it away. You're doing your job. Keep your team in the game. Get your team some offensive opportunities. And you're there. Turning the ball over just puts the other guy in set. So he looked okay. I think a lot of these rookie quarterbacks looked okay. I wasn't really thrilled with Bryce Young, but I think Bryce Young doesn't have as many offensive weapons. So I think all of them went okay. I am worried about Bryce Young, but I think most of the rookie quarterbacks did okay. Packers thumped the Bears. Jordan Love is the only quarterback in week 1 to throw 3 tutties, 245 yards, didn't turn the ball over. He might have fumbled it, but I'm pretty sure he had no interceptions. Fields struggled, 59 yards rushing, 216 passing, and an interception. Aaron Jones might have done something to his calf. He had 86 yards and a touchdown. The Bears' offensive line looked they were on skates. Green Bay's defense was all over them. It's a week 1. Don't set the ship high on Jordan Love. Don't sink the ship on Justin Fields just yet. We got to build it up, kind of see where we're going. Good game overall. Raiders in Denver was a low-scoring game, kind of hard to watch. Denver's got some issues internally. It does not look like a team that's like preparing to play for Sean Payton. It just looks like everyone in that team is like, meh. Jimmy G had 200 yards, 2 tutties, and an interception. Russell Wilson, no turnovers, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kept the ball. They lost. Josh Jacobs had 48 yards. Jacoby Myers got lit up. He got hit real bad. He got a concussion. It looked bad. He had 9 receptions for 81 yards before he got knocked out. And Devontae Adams was held tight. I don't know with Oakland or the Raiders offense what's going to happen if the run game's not there and they keep Devontae Adams at bay. Jimmy G might struggle. Russell Wilson, work some kinks out first full year. Keep that going, kind of just, do your thing. Not first year. He's been with Denver. But kind of just, work out the twinks each week. Both teams averaged 4.7 yards per play. Not the greatest, not the worst, but that's why that game was like a 16-17 game. Cowboys defense dominated the Giants. We're not going to talk much about Sunday Night Football. Sorry, Max. Dak had 143 yards. He didn't look good. Pollard had 70 yards. There was no real good offense. The defense kind of just took over. The Giants laid down. That was kind of the thing. Just because Dallas won 40-0 does not mean Dallas' offense isn't fixed, because Dak did not look good. Eagles, hot start. They were up 16-0, and then they kind of settled and kind of went back to normal. Hurts at 173 yards, 1 touchdown. Started off hot, cooled off. I was going against Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, and they kind of just subpar paused. Mac Jones looked good. 356 yards, 3 tutties, 1 interception. I don't think he started off fast enough. I think he started off slow out of the gate, and that's where he was playing catch-up the entire game. But I'm not too worried. Hunter Henry got a touchdown. New England doesn't look bad. Mac Jones looked good. I know what they need to do. Get that going. Eagles' run game was non-existent. Swift had 3 yards. Gainwell led the team in carries. That backfield is so up in the air, you don't know what to do. Stay away from them fantasy-wise. Not sure who's doing that. The receivers, Devontae Smith had a touchdown. A.J. Brown had 79 yards. So Philly started off hot, kind of mediocre down. I think they thought they were up too much. It was a very weird game. The weather also played a fact, but I think all of that, Philly started off hot and died down, and then New England started off slow and really got hot. But I'm not too disappointed in Mac Jones. I think New England's going to compete in that division by the looks of it. Like I said, it's week 1, so let's not get out of crazy. Dolphins and Chargers, what a game. If you had anyone on the Dolphins offense, congratulations on your 1-0 victory. Tua had 466 yards, 3 tutties, and 1 interception. Waddle had 78 yards. Tyreek Hill, Lord have mercy, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miami doesn't have a rush game, like I said. With those 3 heads in there, they're kind of just so Tua just threw the rock. That game was, the Chargers and Miami just back and forth, back and forth. Eckler looked good, 117, 1 touchdown, 47 receiving yards. Herbert looked good, no interceptions, 229 yards. Keenan Allen, 67 yards. I like the Chargers. Don't panic. It was a good game. They lost, but it's just crazy offensive game both ways. Rams surprisingly looked good without Kupp. Stafford had 344 yards, 0 turnovers. Rams 92 yards rushing. Puka and Tuta both had 119 receiving yards. If they are available by now, after the waiver wire, pick them up. They're going to take place of Kupp and the number 2 guy. They're going to dominate in that offense. It looked good. Let's see what the Rams do. Let's not set them to sail to be a good team. Let's figure it out and give them a couple weeks, but they looked good. Seattle struggled. Geno Smith had 1 touchdown, 82 yards, 80 yards rushing for team, 112 receiving yards for team. The Rams had 2 players out receive the entire Seattle team. Seattle just struggled, looked bad. They got some go back to the drawing. We talked about the Jets. Wilson got it done. Josh Allen had 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 1 loss. Turnovers for the Bills is going to kill him. Josh Allen keeps turning the ball over. The Bills will be in trouble. Zach Wilson did just enough. He got bailed out by that really good punt return. So we'll see what that looks like. We went over week 1. I'm going to preview week 2 scores on Twitter tonight. I'll tell you who's going to win, what numbers. I'm going to lay down some sick bets that you can play down. So we're going to preview some week 2 games, go through the line. Tonight, Thursday night, I'm going to get that prediction on TikTok, and I'm also going to put it on Twitter. Philadelphia home against the Vikes. Thursday Night Football on Prime TV, 8:15. Tune in. We have the Ravens and the Bengals. I love that these early division matchups are happening. So we got the Ravens and the Bengals. Let's see what the Bengals can do if they can bounce back. Seattle at the Lions. Can the Lions be 2-0? Will the Lions be 2-0? That might be crazy. Seattle, see what they got fixed. Colts and Texans, battle of Young and Richardson. This is going to be a great game. Take the over. I think Richardson's going to play well. I think Bryce Young's going to do just about what he did last week. I'm excited for this game. I love when rookie quarterbacks go at it so early. 49ers and Rams, both teams are 1-0. Will the 49ers dominate, look like Pittsburgh? Are the Rams for real? Exciting game. One of those teams is going to be 2-0. Another divisional matchup. Love it. Jets-Cowboys. What do you expect from Russell Wilson? Are the Cowboys defense going to dominate again? What kind of thing? And let's see Wilson does against the potential dominating Dallas defense. Commanders against Denver. Commanders keep it up, went on the road. I like their quarterback. I like their offense. I like their coach. Let's see what they can do. Dolphins-Patriots Sunday night. Another divisional game, and it's Sunday night. It's going to be a great game. Will the Dolphins continue their 500 yards of offense if the weather's good? Tua's going to throw the ball. As you can see, week 1, our rushing game was non-existent. And will the Patriots come out firing? It's a home game. It's Sunday night. I think the Patriots are going to come out a lot stronger than last week. Browns-Steelers Monday night. Dude, this week 2 is crazily stacked. Steelers, bounce back game. Browns, are they going to show they're for real? Better weather game, hopefully. Nighttime, Monday Night Football. See what they got. I'm excited to see what both these teams produce. Green Bay, Atlanta, a great game. That is going to be so fun. Hit the over. Atlanta's a +1 right now. It is going to be a great game. One of those teams is going to be 2-0. I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to be a bar burner. Take the over. Right now, Green Bay, I think, is a point favorite at home or on the road. Kansas City, Jacksonville. I love this matchup. Early, it was a playoff matchup last year. Is Travis Kelce back? Will Kansas City look the same with Kelce? Is he not going to play? I haven't gotten confirmation yet that he's playing. It's Thursday. We don't know if he's playing. Jacksonville, that offense looks good. Can they compete? Can they hang? Can everyone start being like, okay, maybe Kansas City's not going to just walk through that conference? So excited. Minnesota Eagles, already went about that. Bears Bucks in Tampa. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Justin Fields is going to have a bounce back game. Baker Mayfield at home with that energy. Let's see what he brings. Doesn't want to look bad in front of the Bucks fans, so I'm excited to see that. Panthers in New Orleans. Bryce Young, Derek Carr. Let's see if Bryce Young can get a little better this week. Derek Carr worked the kinks out, worked out the first game. Let's get back on track. See what the vibes he brings. Giants, Arizona. Arizona, like I said, good luck, Giants. You better figure it out. Get Waller involved. He's the key to that offense. Saquon Barkley, just figure it out. Y'all gotta look at against Arizona. Don't get a squeaker past Arizona because I'm gonna be sitting here putting you on the cheap sponge trash for the next week. So Giants, figure it out. Sorry, Max. Chargers, Titans, figure it out. You guys need to figure it out. You need to look a lot better this week. Chargers, get a good win. Your offense looks good. Get that running game. Eckler, is already on there, so that looks good. See what that game goes. Raiders, Bills, figure it out. Josh Allen, protect the rock. Stop getting turnovers. And the Raiders, Jimmy G, do a little bit more. So those are the games. Like I said, tonight I'm going to post on Twitter who I think is going to win, what's the money line. I'll predict that out before Thursday, and I'll have it after Thursday Night Football starts, but I'll have Thursday Night prediction way before that game starts. So those are Week 2 predictions from the Bubcast. Games to watch for Week 2. We got Monday night, Pitt versus Cleveland, rivalry. Give that a watch. Thursday night, tonight, Minnesota at Philly. It's going to be a good game. See what Philly does, see what Minnesota does. Sunday, like I said, Green Bay at Atlanta. Baltimore, Cincy. Chiefs, Jacksonville. 49ers, Rams, Miami, New England. I know I kind of just went over all those games, but those are all, most of these games are divisional games, and it's Week 2. Gotta love it. Give them a watch. Put on that red zone and get locked and loaded. All right, so my favorite part of the time, fantasy stardom and sit-ems. So, like I said, I'm in 4 leagues. I won all my leagues except I lost in my YMCA league by .42. Crazy. Garrett Wilson and Stephon Diggs went off the last possible second, and Max got the win, and I lost in my dynasty. But the other games I've won. So I'm going to give you some start sit-ems and some pickups. So start sit-ems, I'd pick up Jake Moody from San Francisco. I dropped my kicker to pick him up. I know he was a rookie, but he had 3 kicks, and they have high hopes on him. So if I can get a kicker that gives me 10, 12 points, that can really give me a W versus L in a week. So heavy start, Jared Goff. Start him heavy. If you have him, put him in. You may have him as a quarterback too. If you don't, you have him just as your starter, throw him in. I think he's going to look good. Kirk Cousins, do not play him tonight. I know Philly's got some guys missing on defense, but I don't think he does well. He does horrible in primetime. I think Minnesota's going to struggle again. Najee Harris against the Browns, I don't think he's going to do well. I think he's going to continue to struggle. The Browns off defensive line got better on both sides. It seems like, unfortunately, I picked him, but Cam Akers doesn't seem to be the go-to back, so I would not rely heavy on him. If you have another RB 1/2 to play, look for that. Nico Collins as a flex. He is going to be the wide receiver 1 in Houston. Give him a start. A sleeper to start, Romeo Doubs. I think Romeo Doubs, depending on what Christian Watson does, Romeo Doubs might be the 1 wide receiver in Green Bay. Might. That's kind of a hot take, but he's his favorite guy for Jordan Love. So keep him in the back of your head for a sleeper. Must-haves. Any running back for Baltimore, both those guys looked good. One of them is a preferred pass catcher. I can't remember which one. Kyron Williams for the Rams, if he's available, pick him up. Puka Nacua, the Rams wide receiver, he is going to be the number 1, even when Kupp comes back, and he's not even guaranteed to come back in Week 4. He may come back Week 5. Hayden Hurst, I know it's like, with Bryce Young, but Bryce Young has a bailout for tight ends, and that might be his guy that he bails out. So Hayden Hurst might be the guy. I'm extremely late on this. Extremely late. I know it's Week 1, but I'm going to give you my Super Bowl predictions. I've already predicted the playoffs on Twitter. The bracket is on there. But I'll go through it real quick. I have Buffalo and Cincinnati, Jacksonville and Baltimore, and Chargers and Cleveland. I have Baltimore beating Jacksonville. I have Cincy beating Buffalo. I have the Chargers and Cincinnati playing, and I have Cleveland and Baltimore playing. I have Cleveland beating Baltimore, and I have the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Chargers. So it is a Battle of Ohio in the AFC Championship game, and I'm giving it to Cincy to win the AFC, And then the NFC, I have the Minnesota, the Rams, New Orleans, and Dallas. I have Philly playing Minnesota, and I have the 49ers playing Dallas, and I have Dallas and Philly. NFC East in the NFC Conference Championship game, that is going to be crazy. Now, mind you, this was set way before the season started, so if you call me a cheater, it's after 1 week. I wrote it down. It's late. Whatever. I have Philly and Cincy playing in the Super Bowl, and I have my Super Bowl champs, the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow gets over it. I think Joe Burrow gets a ring. He's the highest paid guy. He stays healthy, and he gets the ring. So I wanted to get that out on the podcast, write it down, keep me accounted for it. Now, my favorite part, for you Florida people who are watching and you want to start betting on sports again, the Hard Rock app is up, and it is going to be up soon, and we can use it again. I am so excited. I love parlays. I love doing just a little bit of money for gambling. Not too much, just a little. Just enough to, make watching college football parlays. So I got some favorite part bets. So LSU at Mississippi State. Take Mississippi State at plus 9.5. It's a trap game for LSU. I think Mississippi State keeps it close. LSU might win, but I think Mississippi State could lose by less than 9.5. 9.5 or less. Tough road game. Bama plus 33 against USF. I'm sorry, USF local fans, but Bama is ticked. They're going to beat the brakes off of USF. They're going to win they could win by 50 plus. Minnesota at UNC. Take Minnesota at 7.5. Minnesota has been a good Big Ten team so far. I like Minnesota at plus 7.5 on the road. I like that team. I think Minnesota is doing just enough. They may lose, but I take them at 7.5. Washington, Minnesota. I know I'm highly on Washington, but I think Michigan State's a 16.5 point underdog. Take Michigan State at 16.5. Washington is going to look good. They might struggle, but it's an honest, true road game. Washington's going to win that game, but I don't think they're going to win by 16.5 at Michigan State. And last but not least, for college, these are my bets. Lay them hard. Let me know what I do. I will keep this, and I will keep you updated on my bets. And I'll write on the whiteboard. So far, this is the first round of betting, so let me know how I do. I'm going to go on Twitter and see my record and let you know what I hit. Tennessee -7 at UF. Take Tennessee at -7. I think Tennessee is going to do just enough to get by, and I think Tennessee or Florida's going to do something late to where it's almost a 2-score game, that type of thing. So let's knock down some NFL bets for the day. We'll finish off this episode. So we got the Vikes at +6. Take the Vikes at +6. I think Kirk Cousins will struggle, but he'll do enough with Philly having some guys off on their defense. I think they'll do just enough. And the Vikings need a bounce back game. Packers Atlanta over 40.5. That is going to be a barn burner. Both offenses are going to just take it 40.5. Colts Texans over 39. I think both those teams are going to have high-powered offense. Both quarterbacks are going to do well. Over 39. Take Washington at +3.5 at Denver. I'm not sold on Denver. I think Washington will do just enough. I think it'll be a back-and-forth game. Take Washington at +3.5. And the Rams and the Niners over 44.5. That game is like Niners +1. Rams, 49ers, 44.5. Both those offenses are going to dominate. It's going to be 44.5. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a fantastic episode. I've done a lot more research. Thank you for the support. Follow us on TikTok. It's the Bubcast on TikTok. I'm going to post a video later today with my prediction, and I'm going to post my YouTube channel. Appreciate the follow, the feedback. Go on Instagram at Bubcast Official, Twitter at the Bubcast _, and our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, the Bubcast. Appreciate y'all. Cheeks Bunch Trash of the Week. The Titans. Ryan Tannehill, figure it out. 3 interceptions, my dude. Come on. I don't have to throw 3 interceptions. So, as always, what do you say? What do you know? Stupid. Bubcast. Turn it off.